With the growth of Rocket League over the past couple of months, as well as in the near future with Season 9 of the Championship Series coming up, many new players will be entering the arena and compete to be the best player they can be. As exciting as that is, those people will be starting from zero. That's why I decided to give those people a hand and teach them one of the most important things you should learn early on when starting to play Rocket League. The kickoff is not only the start of every game that you play, but of course it also occurs multiple times during the game. Knowing how to take a kickoff properly and later on maybe even think about some kickoff strategies can give your team an early advantage over your opponents and bring you the victory more fluently. There are 3 things in a kickoff to focus on: how you approach the ball, where you hit the ball, and where you want to hit the ball to. So if you're ready to start learning, we'll get right into it. First off, I'll explain those 3 points. Let's say you want to win the kickoff. Then you're going to want to hit the ball in a certain way that gives you a bigger chance of getting the ball in your opponent's half. To achieve this, we're going to have to approach the ball differently to make that hit easier to get. You should realize now that those 3 points are connected. Where you want the ball to go influences your hit point on the ball as well as your approach. So let's look at it from a top point of view. Hankovic on the bottom right will be facing Q on the top left for a kickoff. Let's say both players reach the ball and approach the ball in this way. Where's the ball going to pinch to? If both of their hits aren't perfectly centered on the ball will either pinch to the left or the right. What also happens quite often is that the ball just stays mid. But since that's the situation where your team is relying on a 50-50 from your second man in rotation who's following up, while leaving only one defender, we want to try and avoid that from happening. So let's say Hankovic on the bottom right here approaches the ball just a little bit differently. Let's say he approaches the ball from a more centered position, so he aims the ball at the goal. If the opponent Q approaches the ball in the same way as we talked about before, the ball is never going to pinch towards the left. Approaching the ball from a more centered position, as opposed to approaching it from the side, will give you a bigger chance of winning the kickoff. I'll explain it even a little bit more detailed. If Hankovic approaches the ball from the side and the opponent does exactly the same, there's a very big chance that the ball will be pinched in the direction of any of those yellow lines. But if Hankovic has a more centered approach and hits the ball facing the opponent's goal, he should be able to eliminate any possibility of losing the kickoff. Depending on what the opponent does, he will either win the kickoff or have the ball pinched to the left or the right. But that's not the only factor we have to look at. Of course, the way you hit the ball and where you hit the ball is going to affect the way the ball pinches too. So if we approach the ball from a more centered position as we talked about before, we basically want to hit the ball as center as we can. Again, to increase our chances of winning that 50-50 and winning the kickoff. If we approach from a more side position, we're gonna hit the ball more on the side, which decreases our chances of winning the kickoff. Also, when approaching the ball, you want to make sure you're using your flip to speed up early enough. If you flip too late, you're gonna have a hard time hitting the center of the ball because of the timing of your landing. So when you jump too late, you're gonna hit the bottom of the ball, which decreases your chances of winning the kickoff. But you also don't want to hit the ball too high, because then the opponent will have an easier time to get the ball past you or even under you. In this example, I jump too late, I land right in front of the ball, which forces me to have a low hit. In the second example, I jump too soon, I land too far away, and I also jump too high, forcing me to have a high hit on the ball, again decreasing my chances of winning the kickoff. Let's repeat. First off, we want to position our car so we can hit the ball from a more centered position, aiming at the opponent's goal. Then, we also want to make sure we hit the center of the ball, preferably with the nose of our car. So now you might ask, well, Chaos, how do I train this kickoff? It's actually pretty simple. Just go into free play and respawn until you get a diagonal kickoff position. Then try to time your flip right when approaching the ball and try to score in the opposite corner of where you were spawned. This is what the kickoff should look like. I flip, I still use my boost, land, I have a good centered hit, and I try to score in the bottom left corner of the goal. Also, you'll notice in the replay that's coming up that I don't do a standard front flip in my kickoff. I do some sort of a diagonal flip, which allows me to keep using my boost and keep holding my boost to speed up even faster. I would honestly recommend this type of diagonal flip while using the boost for any player above Champ 1. if you're not really confident in this, then driving up towards the ball in a straight line without doing a flip can also be a good way to win kickoffs. Of course, this is not a training that you're gonna want to do hours on end before you start playing, but just 5 minutes could be enough to give you more consistency in your kickoff. So I think that about concludes it for this kickoff tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, and if you have any more questions about the kickoff, just ask them in the comment section and I'll gladly answer. So without further ado, this was Chaos. I hope you guys learned something useful today, and I'll see you guys on the pitch. Bye bye.